Welcome back, everyone. I hope everyone's coming back, and maybe I just got a thumbs up, so we're allowed to start. Welcome, everyone. Please take your seats. And here we are, our final session of the day, and I'm very happy that you're all here. And I know it's warm, but just think about a very calm and cold breeze that's coming through. I think that will help, okay? And I would like to actually start off with a question, because who knows how much plastic you threw away last week? I know, because in Brussels you have to separate and divide plastic. Anyone else? Do you know how much plastic? No? Okay, more or less? Okay, because that's what it is. Most of us don't. And yet the choices that we make at home, in cities, in regions, they are shaping how we manage resources and also how we face the growing pressures of waste and also pollution. And I want to actually start off, there it is already, the Slido question. And I kindly ask you, and also to our online audience, to be very interactive, participate in this next Slido question. And this question is about, from your perspective, where can the cohesion policy have the biggest impact in supporting circular economy transitions? Is it A, B, or C? Is it A, helping regions pilot innovative circular solutions? Or is it B, scaling up successful local projects to national level? C, building capacity and knowledge sharing across regions? Or all the above? And to those who came in just now, we have a 30-second delay with our online audience. Just make sure that they're here in the room. We have a little bit of a 30-second delay here. So what are we seeing here? Most of you say biggest impact in supporting circular economy transition from your end is building capacity and knowledge sharing across regions. And the second one is scaling up successful local projects to national level, 35% of you. It's an active poll, so might change something, but this is good for our next speakers to also know and remember. Helping regions pilot, yeah, it's getting there. Scaling up successful local projects to national level. Well, that's going to be that's a valid answer for our next panel discussion. And what we're going to hear during our last panel discussion is the following. How can we turn waste into a valuable resource? And also how circular approaches can help us prevent, reduce, reuse what we once threw away. Like I just mentioned before, how much plastic did you throw away? And also the EU's main investment tool, helping regions in the cohesion policy. So again, we're going to set the scene with an EU policy presentation. And she's sitting there in the front, and she's going to present from DG the Environment, on the Circular Economy Act and the Bioeconomy Strategy. And then after that, we have 3 project presentations, one from Portugal, one from the Mediterranean, and the third, a little close to home, Belgium, if this is your home. And those presentations will show where the circular solutions are already in motion. And that will be followed by a panel discussion and some key takeaways. And then I would like to introduce our speakers to you. And let me start off with our first speaker. She's from the European Commission, DG ENV, and her name is Agata Kotkowska. She's Deputy Head of Unit B1, Circular Economy and Sustainable Production and Consumption. Please give her an applause. Thank you. And then we have representatives from local and regional authorities or even funded projects. And firstly, we have Francisco Carvalho. He's General and also Research and Innovation Coordinator at Laboratório da Paisagem in Guimarães. I had to say that with a smile, he said. From Portugal. And then we have Chrysovalantis Ketikidis. He's a research associate at CERTH and project coordinator for the Interact project further in Med. Welcome. And lastly, we have Elmar Willems, and he is facilitator for the circular economy and program lead cities and regions at Circular Flanders. And all right, we're going to be talking about, thank you. And I'm going to have a seat, and also would like to mention, just in case you think later, Agata, it could be that you have to leave a little bit earlier, just to know that for you, audience, and also our online, if she leaves, then you know why. Okay, right? Okay. Agata, I would like to start off with you. A presentation, if you wish to give it here. We have a clicker for you, and you're going to give us a policy update on the Circular Economy Act and the Bioeconomy Strategy. Please, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Thank you for inviting me. Why? Because, you know, when I started my career in the European Commission, I started with DG REGIO 22 years ago, very long time, but I was very committed and dedicated to the cohesion policy, RDF, and especially cross-border cooperation. And here I am back too, in different capacity, but still very much with my heart with you practitioners. I know that some of you are from the managing authority, some of you are practitioners, project deliverers, project managers. So I'm very happy to be here to present to you the circularity, which is now my new love, so to say, and my new policy that I represent here within the Director General of Environmental Policy and the Directorate Competitive Circular Economy and Clean Industrial Deal. Me personally, I'm a deputy head in this unit, dealing especially now with, I'm in charge of the bioeconomy strategy that is to be adopted by the end of this year. Nevertheless, within the directorate, we also, especially we work on the Circular Economy Act and all the legislation there. Therefore, I would go through first the legislation that already touches the circularity, and you will see how much and changes are coming up, and then I will go through the Circular Economy Act main pillars that will be adopted by the end of the next year, and then end up with the bioeconomy strategy. I hope that is fine with you. I start first with the mission. Our mission is resource efficiency, and this is the most important part of our agenda. Why? Resources are limited and need to be taken with a big care. Of course, economic security, especially in the times when the geopolitical situation is as it is, and climate neutrality, as this is the ultimate goal to become climate neutral by 2050. And then, if we talk about the resources, we should use them in a circular way. What does this mean? It means to increase the efficiency. Well, I don't need to tell you more because we have excellent experts in it, so you know what's about. Needless to say that the whole policy of the circular economy that is now is aligned with the political guidelines of the new Commission, and circularity is at the heart of the Clean Industrial Deal. That's one thing which I would like you to remember. About the legislation that is already in place and will be updated as it is written. You know about the legislation of the waste as such, and of the waste criteria for plastic. Now we are working very hard on preparatory works for the future PPWR, so packaging and packaging waste regulation, together with our GRC that is conducting the study on that. And it's about just the work should start it, so with the aim to be ready in 1 year time with end of waste criteria. List of waste, this I am not very much familiar, I don't want to say about that, but just to tell you that there will be targeted revision of the Waste Framework Directive to be scheduled in the plenary very much in 2 weeks' time. I mentioned already packaging and packaging waste regulation. We are expecting to finalize our guidelines that will be ready by next month, and then frequently asked questions, and probably that's important for you, especially when dealing with the very technical questions that will be presented there. We have a huge policy agenda, legislation agenda to be revised. As you can see, 11 implementing acts and 3 delegated acts, several reports and reviews. It's that which keeps us busy. And also what it keeps us busy is the implementing act on digitalization in the waste shipment directive, which will be very soon finalized. Evaluation of the electrical and electronic waste directive by the very soon as well, end of the life of the vehicle. Here, I think it's even today or tomorrow. Just, I apologize, but I just don't remember because there are so many events that related, but ENVI Council is, I think it's today taking place, where we will have a general approach for the end of life of vehicles. And on batteries, there will be a publication of the batteries recycling efficiency and recovery, which is related to the methodology. So many, many next changes in the current legislation. And now I will be going shortly through the Circular Economy Act that will be the act of the current college to be adopted by the end of the next year. And this Circular Economy Act consists of 3 pillars. And we will have the pillar related to the Waste Framework Directive and the different aspects of that. We will have as well the flanking measures, mostly about the economic measures to make economics right. I will talk a little bit later about that. And the 3rd pillar about the electric and electronic waste directive pillar. So as you can see, the revised Waste Framework Directive as part of the Circular Economy Act will clarify end-of-waste criteria for plastics and improve digitalization of waste shipments, and all are aimed at ensuring resources that remain in the economy for as long as possible, creating value and reducing external dependencies. The main idea of the Circular Economy Act is to create the demand market for the secondary raw materials. As you know, there is no level playing field with the fossil fuel alternatives. As you know, the recycling industry is in very difficult situation right now, because sometimes it's cheaper to recycle and to treat the waste in other countries, in other continents than in Europe. So we need to ensure the level playing field for the secondary raw materials within the Circular Economy Act. We will tackle the harmonizing extended producer responsibility schemes to create national cap and trade systems. That is its flanking measures, its economics to make right. For landfill reduction, that's the big aspect which we would like to tackle with, and operationalize the shift from linear to circular economy across sectors. That's a huge task to do. Right now, we plan to have the public consultation, and I would like to very much invite you to the public consultation that will be launched in around 2-3 weeks' time, so mid-July. Please observe, have your say portal. And as you are a practitioner, your views and your opinion is very important, especially for the changes I have mentioned here and how you see it. So in soon, very much at the portal, you will see the public consultation questionnaire. Please be alert and please participate in. We will have on the 2nd of July the Circular Economy Dialogue. That's the big forum for those who work with, for the stakeholders. And that's basically that I wanted to give you, how to say, alert that we are working on that and what kind of legislation is coming up in that direction. Circular Economy Act will be also a very important part of the pathway to deliver the bioeconomy strategy. And sorry, I will move a little bit. Before that, I will move also to the aspects of the first Waste Framework Directive with the criteria, what we will tackle there. So you will see that also that I mentioned in the generic terms are here more detailed, explained here. And the second pillar dealing with waste electrical and electric equipment directive will tackle with the recovery, recycled content and digital transition and extended producer responsibility, as I have mentioned there. And the third one is the economics make right, the market pull mechanism as public procurement and industrial policy measures, especially when we talk about the circularity hubs. That's something which we would like to come up with this idea within the Circular Economy Act with the harmonized environmental tax basis and other tax measures. These elements will be broadly dealt with the impact assessment that is already put in place and the work started already. For that, this timing is a bit disturbing, I don't know. But anyway, in the context of the circle, I'm over time, I see.
That's a bit.
Let's move it, and just mentioning that the impact assessment I mentioned that's already in place, and we started work on that. We will have the information assessed from the public consultation, and we will deliver, so to say, the Circular Economy Act with the next year. I move further just to make sure that that you know about the Clean Industrial Dialogue on Circularity on the 2nd of July, public consultation I have mentioned, and the cooperation with JRC on, with external consultant about the preparatory work, namely the impact assessment. So that's our next steps. And with this, I would like to move to another part of our work, which is bioeconomy strategy to be adopted by the end of this year, where the preparatory works have already started. We have just finished this Monday a public consultation of the bioeconomy strategy. What is a bioeconomy? It's a broader issue. It encompasses as well the circularity of the waste, of the efficient use of the byproducts and waste side products, and encompasses as well the production and use of the biological resources and the biomass management. It's a very cross-sectoral concept. Why I am talking together in this package with Circular Economy Act? Because we will deal with the bioeconomy strategy that is that's the concept for the whole EU, making sure that the circularity will be at the heart of the strategy, one of the pillars of that. The bioeconomy as such is very much emerging around the world. Several countries, namely more than 50, have already adopted their own strategies. And also we have at the global level, at the international level, the sustainability criteria for the bioeconomy. So you can see that also FAO organization is very much interested in working at the multi-stakeholder platforms in form of the bioeconomy. So that's a concept that is very much emerging. EU is not new, or the work on the bioeconomy is not new. Actually, it started already in 2012. We had the 2 revisions on the way, and this bioeconomy strategy is one of the update of the work that has been already done. Nevertheless, it will have a different direction, because before that it was more focused on the research and innovation part of the work, whereas now we move the concept to the deployment and to the circularity and scaling up of the different innovation in bio-based industry. Just to tell you that 11 member states have already in place their bioeconomy strategies or related policies. Some of the member states are waiting for the current EU bioeconomy strategy that will come within this year to finalize their work. So there are also regional bioeconomy strategies. I think in the French region has one. So you can see that, that the work is already ongoing at the European level. And the focus of this bioeconomy strategy is to increase efficient circular use of biological resources, scale up markets, bio-based markets for the materials industries, and deal, as I am working in the environmental policy, deal in sustainable way with the sourcing of the biomass supply. In the end, it's about positioning EU as a global leader for the bioeconomy and bio-based products and materials. Lead markets, that's the initial thought from ourselves. You can see where the focus is so far, but might be changed. Nevertheless, that are the lead markets so far that we have defined. We'll see whether public consultation will bring new intelligence in that sense, and that we correct this on the way. The bioeconomy strategy is seen as one of the driver of the growth and the growth engine within the clean industrial deal, as well with the competitiveness compass, and it's already very well anchored in the current policy initiatives and in the upcoming ones. And I will finish. Thank you very much. I hope that was short enough.
I didn't want to cut you off, so thank you. Yeah, thank you. All right. Agata, please have a seat, because I would like to open the floor to our wonderful audience and online audience. If you have a question for Agata based on the Circular Economy Act or the bioeconomy strategy. Any questions? Yes, there's one question. Can you please stand up and introduce yourself, and if you can keep it straight to the point? Thank you.
I'm Alice Ferrai from the Autonomous Province of Trento, from northern Italy. And I had a question about the biomass, so bioenergy, as you just mentioned. So in the past years, we have received some, so the European Commission was not very convinced of financing biomass for doing energy, because, like for example, wood for doing heating, because we know that there are some consequences of this. So this will change in the future, because as you have presented now, or the orientation is this. Thank you.
You have to wait a little bit, just like. No.
I'm telling you because this is exactly the point where we.
It's not working. Yeah. You have to wait a couple seconds.
It's okay, normally no.
We are just discussing exactly the point. The Renewable Directive number 3, Renewable Directive 3, and sustainability criteria and the cascading principle that is placed there in the directive is being implemented. We don't have yet the full evidence, but already we got signals from the member states, industry, and different stakeholders that incentives and subsidies for bioenergy might have a distortive effect on the on level playing field with the bio-based products and materials. And therefore, we need to see with the bioeconomy strategy, and that's exactly the work is ongoing right now, to see whether we can introduce a system that would prioritize the use of the biomass for the higher values, namely food first, of course, because we need to tackle the food security. That's definitely the most important part. But then materials, then in the end the bioenergy from the woody biomass. We would like to avoid that the woody biomass is incinerated, it's combusted, because in our view, there are better uses. So first needs to be used in a more efficient way. And why I'm saying this? Because there are several parts of the woody biomass that should be more efficiently used. I'm talking about the bioproducts and about the waste that is coming from the woody industry, from the forestry industry. And we would like to incentivize exactly this higher use, so a kind of hierarchy or hierarchy in the use of the biomass. Whether there will be changes in the legislation, I don't think so, because we first need to see whether the renewable directive or the aspects of the cascading principle and the sustainability criteria work well on the ground, and see the concrete evidence that it's, I think, evaluation of the renewable directive is foreseen in 2028, if I'm not mistaken, 27 or 28. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. So thank you, Agata, for your presentation and also answering a question from our audience. And from now, I would like to go to hear our gentlemen, because I want to start off with you, Francisco. You all three have a project that you're working on, and I would love to hear your presentations on it. I know it's a short time, but it's 2 minutes. So if you can, please.
I just need the clicker. Maybe.
Of course. Yes, the clicker. Of course. Yes. We need the clicker. Yes.
I'll try to be as fast as I
All right. Time starts now.
Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. I'll just go straight to the slide because we have just one slide to show. So I'm representing here Guimarães. Guimarães is known for being the cradle of Portugal. It's a city with 240 square kilometers, 156,000 inhabitants. That was capital of culture in 2012 and city of sports in 2013. And in 2013 was a very important year where there was a political vision to have a greener city, a greener territory. So there was a political decision to work on the green transition starting on 2013. And that meant that we needed to create an ecosystem to help work on this top-down vision of achieving having a greener territory. And that's why we created this governance ecosystem that it is now published on a paper, the 2030 Guimarães Governance Ecosystem. And one of our issues is related with waste. Of course, waste is one of our pillars of action. And we look to our data in this ecosystem. We do a lot of research applied to the territory. We understood that bio-waste, we had a lot of bio-waste in our mixed waste, 36%, and we needed to do something about that. And that was why we used a CCRI project to help us to develop a circular systemic solution that was based on this approach to help in implementation collection systems. So how to implement a collection system. We use a door-to-door system to collect the bio-waste, providing containers for people, and we had a lot of support in the European funds to get the vehicles and also the containers to provide to people. And under that strategy, we implemented also a systemic solution that is using that bio-waste as a composting with a stakeholder that we are selling to the southern part of Portugal to use as fertilizer also for wine production, because Portugal produces a lot of good wine.
Yeah.
So I can talk a little bit more about that a little bit later. But right now we are the municipality in Portugal with the highest bio-waste collection, with more than 6,000 tons of bio-waste that we collected since the end of 2024.
Yeah, that's incredible. Thank you. Can I have an applause for Francisco, please? Yes, we have to stay awake. And then Chrysovalantis, Ketikidis.
Thank you
Please,
very
if
much.
you can present.
Thank you very much,
project.
Karen, for this invitation. Well, let's see what we have done in this VerdiMed project. This is an Interreg Euromed project. So we are trying to reduce the waste mountain in the Med. So in principle, we set the principles to guide policymakers, industry, and the civil society, the consumers, in the transition from a linear textile and clothing system to a more circular one with a systemic solution approach, meaning to have more efficient use of raw materials, to have a reduction of waste, and to manage the end of life of this textile and clothing waste. So in principle, we set a support service to industry, to consumer, and to policymaker to support them in decision making. Apart from that, we have various tools in order to achieve some meaningful, impactful results. First of all, it's a knowledge platform. So it's a platform, a digital one, which is based on design thinking, and stakeholders have been contributing there. And we have input and based on localized and real-world needs. The other thing is we have a support service asset to industry, policymakers, and civil society. And then we have a Verde Bussola. So this is in principle a framework to set up an excellence hub or a competence center in the textile and clothing domain. And there we consolidate various actions and outputs, key outputs like this knowledge platform, the support service, and our Verde hubs. These are the community of practice hubs we have in this project. Another 20 seconds. The last thing is the strategy for textiles and clothing. So we have our own strategies on a local level mainly. And these have been, or this will be shaped on evidence-based conclusions, because we have a lot of demo activities which will be used in order to run some policy recommendations. And the last one, just a couple of seconds. We have this Verde Academy. This is our community of practice on a consortium level. We have national hub meetings in each country. We have the knowledge platform, as said, living labs for consumers, accompanied with surveys and study visits. And the last thing is the consumer campaigns. We have short videos shot outside of malls or wherever consumers are in order to raise awareness there. And that's it on my side. Plus
Well, I mean, that's very, very well done. Well done. Super. Thank you, Chrysovalantis. And then lastly, we're going to Belgium, to Elmar. Elmar, yes,
Actually,
please take the
and
floor.
not only to Belgium, we're actually going to Flanders, which is a
Flanders,
region.
excuse me.
The region of
Excuse me.
Belgium.
Yeah, okay,
That's
forgive
why,
me.
yeah, it's a bit complicated, but it's interesting. And
It's good that you mentioned it. Yeah, it's very...
we work together, of course, with Brussels and also with the Walloon region. They have the same ambition to become more circular. And as an organization from Flanders, we try to promote circular economy in Flanders. In all sectors, in all kinds of actions. And me particularly, I'm involved with the circular municipalities and cities, working with local stakeholders, local authorities to promote circular economy. To show you just this slide, it's a bit of dead by PowerPoint, but we had to make up one slide, so I provide you one with a lot of actions. First of all, we try to strengthen local capacity, working with a tailor-made support for local authorities as much as possible, but we have limited means, so we cannot work with every city and municipality. We've done a couple of them, so strengthening local capacity. We're working on different themes for those local authorities, which they find important, which they think might help them. Working on urban development, circular procurement, of course. Renting and sharing is quite an important and impactful topic. Recycling parks of the future, the built environment. Those topics and more are being discussed. We tried to raise political support the past few years already, of course. This year is even more important because multi-year planning is being done and executed at the local level for the next 5 to 6 years. We have a lot of communication, websites, events, and newsletters sent out. And we have those, meetings on a European level, working with stakeholders from all over Europe. We also get a bit of funding from an Interreg Europe project, working on integral solutions on the combination of circular economy solutions and climate solutions. And we are a partner in a Horizon EU project and working closely also with the CCRI, which is a Circular Cities and Regions initiative commissioned by DG RTD, and Guimarães is also one of those pilots, just as we are. This is in a nutshell.
Yeah, I know. Wow. Well done. Congratulations. Yeah. So I would like to thank you, gentlemen, for your presentations, the short ones, and I thank you for doing that. I want to bring it back to you, audience, if you have any questions on the projects. And online audience, same thing for you. Anyone? Yes, there's a question. And if you can please stand up and introduce yourself and keep your question briefly and to the point. Thank you.
Yes, sure. My name is Haley Chantar. I'm here on behalf of the Bioeconomy Matters podcast. I have a question for the third speaker, the Verde in Med. I was wondering which countries in the Mediterranean you're working on. I'm from Malta, so that's my specific interest.
I'm sorry, but Malta is not included. Well, it's the countries which have production or countries which have or want an ecosystem in the textile waste management. So production is done in Portugal, Northeast. It's in Italy, it's in Spain. We have also Northern Macedonia and Bulgaria, which are involved in production, but they have a low degree of circularity. It's not like in the other countries which have innovation and a circular approach. And then we have countries which are dealing or struggling with waste management and with the EPR and all the strategies which just came up, like Greece, like Slovenia. And that's it. 7 countries and 10 project partners. It started last year, and it will run until next year, June, 2.5 years.
July. Yeah, okay, all right. Any other questions from our audience? Feel free to speak up. It's a great moment. Yeah, no? Any online questions? Okay, good, thank you. All right, well then, I would like to open up the questions for you, because let me start off actually with Francisco, because what has helped foster cooperation between public authorities, also private actors, and communities to drive the circular transition?
Yeah, so as I was mentioning during my short time presentation, the creation of this governance ecosystem in Guimarães has the municipality, and then there was the institution where I work, the Landscape Laboratory, that was created in 2014 to build this connection between the municipality, the academia, and also citizens, also providing now, so now we are connecting also with the private sector. And, you know, the Landscape Lab was built to work here in the middle and to connect all the points. So that was very important to have, which means that everything, we support in the science-based decision-making, and at the same time, we translate science for citizens trying to work on the behavioral change, which is the most difficult part.
Absolutely.
And that we try to bring that in all the projects that we try to implement. And this was a particular case where we tried to do that. And also I had in my slide, now we can't see it anymore, but there was a very interesting case where I showed the,
Yeah.
you want to ask a question, Willems?
No, you can finish, and then
It was
Elmar wants to
a specific
say
case here
something.
in terms of education that we do and that we did in terms of bio-waste collection, because we implemented the bio-waste collection system in the beginning, in a door-to-door system. Everything was perfect on the first month, which is, everyone talks about good results, but then on the second month, the bio-waste collection was really low, and we thought, okay, we need to do something here. So people in Guimarães, they are very, they support a lot the local club, so there is a real sense of belonging in the people of Guimarães, because Guimarães was the cradle of Portugal and so on. And so we thought maybe we can use sports to communicate with people. So you saw in my presentation there was a green heart, and then a yellow car and a red car. So we were putting that on the top of their bins, saying you are doing the bio-waste collection in the right way, you are doing it in a more or less in the right way or in the wrong way. And we were doing the door-to-door help to people, building capacity to people, showing it, so this is what you should put in your bio-waste collection and so on. So using, a really bottom-up approach with people, using what they like the most, which is foodable, to communicate with them as well.
Bottom up. And Elmar, you
Well,
wanted to...
I'm triggered by your story, and I was wondering, maybe you can add to this. Did your strategy start from a waste perspective, or did it start from an economic perspective or a climate perspective, or was it really a very diversified and integral approach that you chose?
It was in a very integrative way. So we looked into the baseline was in 2015 to do environmental diagnosis of the city using a set of indicators. By that time, we aimed to be European Green Capital. So we used basically the indicators of European Green Capital, trying to integrate also the nexus between them. So I would say our first approach was to create this multidisciplinary team to work in everything in a very multidisciplinary way. And there are some examples of projects also related with bio-waste and bioeconomy, where we integrate, for example, adaptation, because agricultural land is also very important to us. We have 30% of our territory is agricultural land, mainly small-scale farmers as well. So we are using that as well, trying to integrate what we do with circular economy, with the benefits, for example, for our economy, our local economy, interaction with agriculture, with adaptation as well, in this very integrated approach with all the team that we have. Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to answer
Sounds
that?
great and sounds very useful, of course, although every city has its own priorities, can set its own priorities and start from a different perspective. But we've seen that it really makes sense to connect it to climate policies, and it really connects with economic policies. So it doesn't only start from environmental and waste perspective, but really connected with climate strategies and environmental and economic perspectives. Then it gets really, the take-up is much higher. The strategy then, of course, needs some refinement and needs application, and it needs collaboration. But this vision needs to be kind of integral and very ambitious as well.
Can I just have here something?
Of course.
I'm taking.
And then we go to Chrysovalantis.
You know, the economic part here was also very important to us to communicate with people. So in 2016, we implemented the pay-as-you-throw system. You know, so we basically with dynamic taxes for the persons will pay for what they produce in terms of waste. And right now we have the Save As You Recycle system. So we are giving money back to people, reducing their taxes, their variable tax by 50% in the end of the year if they source bio-waste collection. It's a way to use also economical schemes to get people a little bit more involved with our long-term strategy.
I see a thumbs up from Agata. Can you express or elaborate a little bit on that?
Yes,
thumbs up.
I am very happy about that to hear, and thank you for inviting me, because that's exactly what we are. We want to promote with the Circular Economy Act to make economics right. Exactly, this example shows that it's possible. We would like to scale up this at the EU level to introduce the, the rebates on the tax at the EU level. Unfortunately, tax policy as such is not, how to say, it's not the domain of the EU and not in the mandate. And if so, then we would need to have on the VIT the unanimous agreement between all 27 member states. Nevertheless, this example I really would like to take home to my colleagues to talk about it, because this is exactly where I believe we need to go to incentivize and to, to give incentives, economic incentives to our citizens to go into the direction of the waste collection and also recyclability of the waste.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, thank you for adding that. Yeah. Well, and then I want to go to Chrysovalantis, because, I want to hear from you, because what are the main regulatory barriers, and maybe also the administrative barriers to faster uptake circular solutions at a local and also regional level, when you're talking about Verdimed?
Well, there are a lot of barriers which local governments have. First of all, it's a lack of technical expertise. So they don't know much about collection, they don't know much about sorting, they are lacking infrastructure. That's why we are here. And infrastructure is not just equipment, it's also space for collection points, for example. They are fighting. If I have here a space for a collection point, then I lose some space for a car parking lot. This is another thing. Well, first of all, they are lacking technical expertise. We talked a little bit earlier, I think you mentioned it, public procurement. Public procurement is a big tool, and public authorities have a purchasing power. It's, I think, 14% of the GDP is it's generated by public authorities. So they can use strategic public procurement, circular, social, green public procurement, even innovation procurement, in order to procure circular and sustainable goods for their utilities, police departments, fire brigades, whatever they have there.
What can they do about it when you say we need more public procurement, or what actions can we take?
Well, the most simple thing is to unite, to gather them in a community of practice approach, in a hub meeting, and to discuss the same thing from various perspectives, and then to build capacities. Well, how to support them if the public procurement department is understaffed, for example. What can they do? Or if they want to support the repair service in their municipality, what should they have? They should have some space, some reuse center, for example. Do they need money for a reuse center? And what will they do in this reuse center? And then gather also the community and the consumers. Because circular economy without them is not there.
So this could be a point for the working group action plan? Agata, yes, please.
If I may add,
Of course.
please use this, this power of your working group for the public consultation on the revision of the public procurement directive, because we need to have the hook there on the green public procurement as the obligatory criteria, sustainability criteria and obligatory criteria. And I'm talking here for everybody, because everybody can how to say, voice concern about the public procurement, which will be revised within the next, I think next year even already. So that will be definitely an important tool for all of us to deal with.
Elmar?
Yes, and to even complement this comment, I think we have to influence national legislation and practices on circular procurement, and then we have to influence European legislation and work together in those communities of practice, also provided by the CCRI or elsewhere. And then I think that we didn't talk about the cohesion funds. I think the cohesion funds can add, incentives to invest more circular and to add, for example, in affordable housing. It's of no use to just invest in energy transition when you do not look at the materials that you use or the systems that you use and that you want to keep in place for the next decades. Then we need to invest circular and try to build in those incentives in those cohesion funds as well. Make it a plus, or actually provide also capacity and technical assistance, of course, to invest more circular. And then I think that this future can become a reality. Yeah.
Well, and I want to know if there are any questions from our audience after hearing these projects, or Elmar?
It's a really hot topic, so...
It's a very hot topic, yeah. Thank you for adding this. Any questions? I see, yes, please. There's a gentleman with a microphone, or a lady in this case. Yes. Can you please introduce yourself and keep it
Can you hear me? Yeah.
to the point?
My name is Hannah Hagedorn. I'm facilitating the climate working group for the C4T Secretariat. I've also been involved in the CCRI before a bit. And my question would be related to the Slido that we've been doing in the beginning. So what would you think is the most relevant from your personal perspective? Most relevant scaling up innovations, or regional innovation, or knowledge sharing, I think was the third.
I would give the floor to all of you. And keep it short, please, then. Maybe a minute or so.
I picked up the one that said all of the above, because I believe that we need to do it all in a very systematic way. That's something that I was talking about. Pilot, scale it up, and so I know that it looks like the easy answer to go with, but it's true. You need to first. We see that for example, in the implementation of if you want to implement bio-waste collection, you need to pilot. You need to pilot it to see if it works. If it's not working, you need to go back, reformulate the way that you're doing, and then you need to scale it up on a radial way. We are doing that to get the old territory, for example. And if you don't do that, if you don't do it in a very systematic way, you won't consolidate. You can innovate, you will pilot things, but you won't consolidate. And consolidation is it's difficult than the piloting.
Chrysovalantis.
Well, I won't say anything different. Okay, innovation is there and technology is there. If we are talking about textile waste management, to collect and to sort, yes, but it has to be scaled, and this is the thing. There is a lack of knowledge, as said, it's on a national level, it's also on a local level, and it's not only how to correctly or properly sort things, it's also the extended producer responsibility, and we mentioned it, polluter pays principle, so there is a lot of opaque, not clear information there, so the people are asking, public authorities are very much interested in this conversation about extended producer responsibility, for example. So yes, the knowledge should be propagated, and as said, consumers should be involved in this dialogue, in this consultation, in order to build capacities and to exchange thoughts on what is the best thing for each territory, because it's a regional approach, it's not one fits all. So.
Right, yeah. I heard that before. Elmar.
I think we are recycling our ideas here, so not too much to add, but I think there is a problem. Of course, we have those pilots, and we are in Flanders, we are quite good at it. Seed money as well, subsidies, pilots that are really making a difference on a local scale, but then project time ends. And then, you know, a political change might happen as well, or and then the system, which is actually still quite linear and growth-based, is still taking over. And so we are more or less at a ceiling now of what we can achieve with pilots and knowledge sharing in this with like-minded people. So it's really up to, well, national government, regional, and also European governments to implement the new vision and say, this is the direction that we want to go to. We want quality in Europe. We want to be a continent of quality growth. We want not only resource efficiency, actually, but we want really resource reduction as well. The CRMA, so the Critical Raw Material X, is also a very powerful tool in that respect. And align all those people and all those pilots and not just scale up. It won't happen as easy, because we really, you know, have this ceiling now, what we can achieve in this linear system. So we need to, you know, have those bigger questions also posed on this kinds of fora.
And find synergy.
Oh, definitely, yeah. This is a good, this event is a good example.
Yeah.
And new ideas come up. But those ideas and ideas being developed, for example, within the textile market, which is so important.
Yeah.
But then it needs to be scaled up by European legislation and by really trade agreements as well that say we do not want the dumping of bad clothing and textiles in Europe and elsewhere, the other way around as well. We dump 4 kilograms of textiles. Each European dumps 4 kilograms of textiles in Africa and Asia. So
per year?
Per year. That's the
4 kilos.
Environmental Agency. Yeah.
Wow, that's incredible. Well,
And
thank
if
you,
I
Elmar.
may-
Agata, yes.
If I may add,
Of course.
although everything what was said is excellent, of the excellent quality, but I believe we need to have an awareness and also the mind shift towards that to play Europe's strength. Europe is sustainable. Europe wants to be competitive. Let's make it this as our advantage. Our consumer wants sustainable products. We want to live in the continent that is aligned to our values. I believe we need to make this competitive advantage of it. We see what's going around the world. We need to have the strategic autonomy and make our economy working for us, for sustainable economy. Therefore, I believe the mix or set of the legislative and non-legislative measures, incentives, economic incentives, but also enforcement. Let's be frank, member states don't deliver on circularity. Yeah? There are several member states that are behind their targets that have committed to. So a mix of different measures at a different level, local, regional, national, and the European level, and also in accordance with our trade partners, or to use to our advantage. So here, I believe, let's make it strength out of our sustainable economy. Thank you.
Right. And I actually want to follow up on that because you say the strength, yet there are disparities when you look at the readiness of some people in Europe, across Europe, I would say. How will the Commission support less developed regions in upgrading their waste management infrastructure?
That's the good question. Actually, it's difficult for me to say because we have subsidiarity system and principle. So the regions are the regional policy as such is in the hands of the member states, right? So it's not at the European level. So Commission needs to make sure that the future cohesion policy and the regional policy and cohesion policy is supporting these regions in order to move the shift to circularity. How it will be done, this is in hands of my colleagues in the regional policy department.
DG Regio, okay. Okay, good to know, thank you. Any add-ons, gentlemen? How do you see the readiness of Europe? You were just mentioning, Ricardo, about belonging, a sense of belonging, but also there are obviously different regions in all your projects that you believe, these communities, local communities, it's hard to bring them along. How would you act on this? So what is your advice to our audience?
Yeah, so it's a very good topic because even at the local level, you have differences inside of your territories. In the case of Guimarães, we are divided in 48 different parishes, which means that each of them has their own local president. So it's difficult sometimes to speak to everyone and also to have them on board while working on these subjects. First, I think you need to create the methodologies to hear their voices and to really understand what are the people needs, because it's the basic Maslow pyramid. So if they are not, you need to first guarantee that they have a baseline to think about. Actually, circular economy is a good topic where you can easily combine all the pillars of sustainability in the same way. So you can easily show with circular economy the relationship with the environment, the social, and the economic value. You can provide benefits, direct benefits to people economically, as I said we are doing. So it creates incentives. They will pay less if they are contributing for. They can have reduction if they are part of your. And it's a way also for you to communicate this is helping you to develop socially as well. And there's a lot of opportunities here also for economic value of the region. And that's something that we are working mostly on the textile sector as well, because Guimarães has 80% of our industries are related with textiles, and so we are working with them, only with the big companies, but also specifically with the small companies. So helping them to understand how do they work towards the transition, and with the support of the ecosystem, because inside of the ecosystem I was mentioning, sometimes companies need support to understand how do I develop a sustainability plan, because I don't have human resources on my company to do that. Right. But we have other institutions that are related with the municipality that can help them to understand. I want
to say goodbye. Thank you, Agata. Bye-bye. An applause for Agata because she's leaving. Thank you. Sorry to interrupt. Just wanted to say thank you to her. Please move on. Sorry to interrupt.
I think these are ways to support the social and economic and to try to make our local context a little bit more even as well.
Right. Okay, and how's that for you, Chrysovalantis? The local communities, how do you bring them along when it comes to the readiness of your region, circular economy?
Well, on the one hand, you have the municipalities. On the other hand, you have waste management companies, which in the most cases are municipally owned. So a lot of municipalities have a consortium and participate as shareholders in these waste management companies. This is very easy to approach them. They have a direct benefit in enhancing the waste management, including the textiles. These companies are also responsible for implementing on a regional level the policies imposed by the central government, and this is totally fine. Well, if we are talking now about textiles and not any kind of other waste stream, so it's a very specific. So textiles is also dependent on the GDP, well, on the income of people. So the lower the income is, the more the cheaper their textiles are. So more fast fashion or more ultra fast fashion from Far East.
Right.
So which means a huge problems with sorting and recycling.
Right.
So this is something the local governments can't do, or you as a project can't do, apart from awareness raising to communicate to people to buy only the essential things, only what they need.
Right. Thank you. Elmar?
Yeah, I think the model of governance that Guimarães is presenting goes almost fairly well for the Flemish case, but we're covering 300 municipalities and almost 7 million inhabitants, but the same kind of questions pop up and the same kind of governance actually is in place with a vision, with people from different companies and sectors and organizations are aligned for circular ambitions, and especially those cities and local authorities are stepping into the game. But we have to actually find the energy. Where is the energy? On what topic are they working or willing to work? Sometimes they are really strong in advanced waste management or bio-waste collection. Sometimes they are working with reuse schemes, or they have someone who's really passionate about electronic repair, and then you have to go on that one. But they need some kind of support, overall support, where they can work with, and it can be European funds, it can be European projects, or it can be regionally organized. And then at the European level, you need those kinds of networks and governance as well. So the CCRI is in place for local authorities. You can really link to that, and you can really find a lot of expertise, and also twinning programs are in place. So there is actually no lack of knowledge and knowledge sharing on the European field. But
So what would be then the next step?
yeah, that's a hard one, and that's also discussed in these European roundtables on what are the next steps for the CCRI, for example. And I think legislation is key of that. We started with waste management, and that's a good entry point. You can also start with economic policies, but I think waste management and also eco-design directives are really key to the success of future the circular economy in Europe. And then you need support on those different legislative topics. And because it's quite difficult to implement, for example, EPR schemes on textiles, or implement a bio-waste collection for a country. And then you need support, and you need infrastructural support as well. Partly paid, I think, by producers and importers of goods that we want to discourage to be used in a non-sustainable way.
Right. Okay. And if I want to go to actually stay with you, because Circular Flanders reduced red tape, correct? Yeah?
Yeah.
And you also embrace risk. I like that, to promote innovation, I have to say, as an entrepreneur. And based on your experience, what practical strategies or even safeguards can help public authorities fund circular transition more flexible and also effectively?
I think that's a good one. I think in 2017, from a transition methodology, we started to invest in experiments. But our call was really an open call to innovation. And it was an open call for cities, non-profit organizations, companies, startups, everyone interested in the circular economy. And those have been hugely successful. There have been failures, of course, but we have now, multinationals that have been grown out of this funding or this low threshold subsidy.
Can you give an example what was successful? Can you mention, just pick out like one and say?
Yeah, for example, Uno is a very interesting company that makes and sells and rents walls, inner walls for interior walls, which you can use for a certain period of time and then give back to the company, and they will reuse it again with a very modular system. And it is a very, quite a successful story now. And of course, you have others that are, do not continue to work or are still relying on subsidies. But we have a lot of 2017, 2019, we had open calls. Then we had calls for certain topics like the circular built environment or renting and sharing or eco-design more specifically. And this has been replicated by the city of Ghent, for example, or the province of East Flanders. This way of funding and giving smaller amounts of money to interesting topics, that has worked well in also on a very local level.
Okay.
Also in Antwerp, for example.
So cities, local, and it went all over, so to speak.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. Okay. I see that we have 1 minute and 30 seconds left. I see another question, but I don't think we have time for that. I'm sorry anymore. Yeah, but we have and I wanted to close off with you. So I'm sorry if maybe we can ask it later, because I want to round up and conclude with you in this last almost 1 minute. And I actually want to know from you. Yeah, well, how would you conclude this session in 1 sentence? Or what would be your actionable point for our audience? This is what you have to know about this topic, very crucial, waste to resource. I'll leave it up to you in 1 sentence. Thank you.
So try to build top-down and bottom-up approaches, create an ecosystem that can provide you support to do that, so don't leave anyone behind, and that means for the social and economic perspective as well. So also help the economic sector to understand that there are a lot of opportunities to in circular economy as well that can create value at the local level as well. And try to do it in a very systemic way, because I believe that is the way to go. Trying to make everyone understand what is circular economy, starting on procurement, on preventing, and then starting on ways to valorize as well.
1 sentence. Thank you so much. Thank you, Francisco. Chrysovalantis, 1 last sentence.
I would say...
key takeaway of this session.
Yes, key takeaway.
Last one.
Well, I would say keep discussing, but keep acting or start acting very quickly, very shift. Because a lot of things are changing, not only in Europe, in the globe. And if we want to protect Europe, then we have to act very quickly.
Right. Thank you.
That's a call to action for me as well. I think 1 policy takeaway is we have to integrate this cohesion funds with circular economy projects and policies more and more. So this is a responsibility for Europe and also for all of you and us. And secondly, just start doing it. Circular economy will become mandatory, if not yet already. And don't underestimate yourself. You have the knowledge, and there is a lot of things that we can do and learn.
Exactly, but take action.
Yeah.
Right? Thank you, gentlemen. Can I have an applause for our speakers? Thank you so much. Thank you. Well, that was a great session. And we are almost at the end. But before you go, we have closing remarks. And I'm very excited to introduce her on the stage for you, because I would like to take you back to the source who invited us here today. And as you know, this conference is organized by the European Commission, DG REGIO. And I'm very honored to welcome a woman, and she's responsible for the coordination of the C4T community of practice. And in her daily work, she's making sure that this initiative actively helps with shaping how cohesion policy supports sustainability across EU regions. Please, can you give her a very loud applause? Here is Joanna Jakubowska.
So, good afternoon, everyone. I had a pleasure to open yesterday's meeting of the working groups and the academic sounding board. And now I have also a huge pleasure of closing those 2 very fruitful days. So I'm very, very happy to be standing here in front of you. And I know it's been a long and a very hot day. So I will do my best to summarize everything in a few minutes. So please bear with me. I know that closing remarks is rather a difficult task. So first and foremost, I want to express my sincere gratitude to each one of you. And whether you joined us in person or you're with us online, whether you're a participant or a speaker, and we are especially happy that so many of you made it today, despite of the public strike here in Brussels. And when organizing this conference, our aim was clear. We wanted to keep you informed, but also to involve you in the conversation. So we could see, I think, very fruitful discussions and conversations here in the panels on the most pressing sustainability topics within the framework of cohesion policy. So we brought together a wide range of both topics, but also a diverse group of speakers. We had EU levels, we had national level, regional, local, we had managing authorities, we had also academics and project leaders, so there was a big diversity. And this diversity is what makes C4T truly, I think, special. So it's a community of practice that brings together different stakeholders, but we all share the same goal, ensuring that cohesion funds effectively support the sustainability transition. So I have followed the sessions very closely, from the keynote speech in the morning of our Director General to all the panel discussions. And let me briefly highlight a few takeaways that I note down. So at the beginning, it was mentioned by our Director General that competitiveness and sustainability are not conflicting goals, they are mutually reinforcing. And I think this message we heard quite loud and clear throughout the day. Then water resilience, so this is increasingly urgent. So we see that water scarcity and also floods are becoming more frequent all across the EU. And the European Commission is prioritizing this, making sure that we create future-proof solutions. We also saw inspiring examples on the ground, like the Danube project and the work in Valongo. They showed us how nature-based solutions are being implemented on the ground. Then we heard also on affordable housing, which is remaining a major challenge, particularly for vulnerable and low-income groups. So both DG REGIO and DG ENER highlighted its importance, but we also heard very practical and solid success stories from the member states and from different projects. And last but not least, we just had a very nice discussion about circularity. We heard from DG ENV that circularity is being at the heart of the Clean Industrial Deal, and we also listened carefully how to deliver it on the ground. So we had ideas about door-to-door waste collection, community hubs, cooperation with local authorities, and even using sports to reach to the local community. So thank you for all those discussions. And as our Director General said at the very beginning, we are now halfway through the programming period. So we have a shared responsibility, and it should be clear that we must accelerate, and also we must accelerate the absorption and impact of cohesion funds. So let me underline this one last time, that C4T here is here to help you with that, and we'll continue doing it, continue supporting you in these efforts. So on this note, I would like to remind you, sorry, because I actually need a clicker. Here we go. So on this note, I would like to remind you, it was already mentioned today, that the next call for C4T groundwork technical assistance will be launched on the 1st of October. So please mark your calendars and so just start thinking about the challenges where our support could make a difference. And if you haven't seen already, I encourage you to visit the exhibition at the back of the room, showcasing some of the completed and ongoing assignments under C4T, including the Valongo technical assistance assignment that was presented also today. So I hope it would be a great source of inspiration. And for those of you who are following us online, don't worry, because we'll also share a virtual version of the exhibition. So that's it. I know we're tired, it's very hot, so I wanted to thank you once again for being with us today, for your active participation. Big thank you to all the speakers, and we look forward to seeing you next year at the next conference. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Joanna. And those were the final words, and we're almost at a close. But before we do, you see here one last time another QR code. So I kindly ask all of you, and same thing for our online audience, to scan the QR code, because why? We want to hear from you. This is a survey, and we would like to hear from you. How was the conference, and what did you think? And the only way to improve and take action on that is hear from you. And that's what we're doing with this survey. So thank you for doing that right now. I see all of you taking a photo, which is great. And I hope that the online audience is doing that as well right now. And then I would like to extend a heartfelt thank you to the European Commission for DG Regio for organizing this, and also to the Secretariat, the C4T, because they've been all working very hard on making these 2 days happen. So I want to actually give them a very loud applause if we can. Yeah, okay. And Joanna said it already, but I also want to say another thank you for our speakers, also an applause for them. And I would say our audiovisual team. Can you show your hands, please, in the back? Yes, there. Because without them, we would not be able to see or hear the presentation. So, and also our photographer, our people here with the microphones, everyone, and the caterer, and also the venue Atelier des Tanneurs. And then, of course, I would like to end with you. I want to thank you. I want to thank you for your contribution, the value that you brought, and also your attention. And I know you're coming from all places and different member states in Europe, so thank you and safe travels home, and see you next time. Have a great evening. Thank you so much.